So today, we're going to dive into the story of someone really special, a person who's kind of like the quiet force behind a spiritual giant, Sri Isvara Puri. You see, he was the teacher, the guru, who guided one of the most influential saints ever. And his life? Well, it's an incredible lesson in what true humility and devotion look like.
Now, everything we're talking about really centers on one particular day, February 14th, 2026. And believe me, this isn't just some random date pulled out of a hat. For millions of people, this day is hugely important.
So, on this day, devotees honor a disappearance. Yeah, I know, it sounds a little mysterious, doesn't it? So, what does that actually mean, to disappear in this spiritual sense? And who was this incredible person at the very center of it all? Let's get into it. Okay, so if you really want to understand where Isvara Puri's immense spiritual power came from, you have to start at the very beginning, with the absolute foundation of his life. And that foundation was this incredible, unwavering commitment to selfless service. You know, they say that every great teacher was first a great student. And that is absolutely true here. For Isvara Puri, his own teacher, his guru, was the legendary saint Madhavendra Puri. And this relationship, wow, it wasn't just something that shaped him, it literally defined who he was.
And the kind of service we're talking about here, it's almost unbelievable. When his guru, Madhavendra Puri, got old and couldn't care for himself, Isvara Puri did everything, everything, day and night. He even took on the tasks that no one would ever want to do, like cleaning his master's stool and urine with his own hands. But here's the amazing part. He didn't do it with disgust or resentment. He did it with pure joy, in a state of spiritual ecstasy.
Now, to really see what made Isvara Puri so special, just look at how he acted compared to another disciple, Ramchandra Puri. You had Ramchandra, who actually criticized their guru for crying out in his love for Krishna. He just couldn't get it. And then you had Isvara Puri. He understood these deep spiritual feelings and just served with pure love, no questions asked. That difference in attitude was everything. One got a blessing and the other got corrected.
So in the end, it was this incredible, deep, humble service that earned him these immense spiritual blessings from his guru. It really became the core of who he was. It filled him with this spiritual power, this potency, that he was eventually going to pass on to someone else.
All right, so we've seen how service was his foundation. And what did that foundation build? It built a character of just profound humility. In fact, he was so advanced, so full of devotion, that he actually tried to hide how great he was, living this incredibly simple life.
I mean, he never put up a sign saying, "Hey, look at me, I'm a great saint." He wasn't looking for fame or a big following. Nope. He just lived quietly, dressed simply, and did everything he could to avoid the spotlight. And that right there is one of the classic signs of a truly great soul, isn't it? Their greatness comes through in who they are, not in how much they talk about themselves.
But here's the thing. You just can't hide that kind of spiritual power forever. There's this incredible story about him at a gathering at the home of another saint, Advaita Acharya. Isvara Puri just quietly slips in and sits in a corner, trying not to be noticed. But then a musician starts singing a devotional song, and that was it. He was just completely overcome with divine love. All that humility just gave way to pure ecstasy. He starts trembling, crying, laughing, rolling on the ground. His cover was completely blown. In that moment, everyone in the room knew. They knew they were in the presence of someone truly extraordinary. And all of this, his service, his humility, it was all building up to one single moment, the most important event of his life. We're talking about a fateful meeting in the holy city of Gaya that would go on to change the course of spiritual history forever.
Okay, let's walk through how this happened. It starts in a place called Navadvipa, where Isvara Puri first meets this brilliant young scholar, Nimai Pandita, who shows him a lot of respect. So, fast forward a few years. Nimai is now in the holy city of Gaya to perform some family rites. He goes to the Vishnupada temple, and as he's looking at the footprints of Lord Vishnu, he's just hit by this wave of spiritual emotion. And right then, at that very moment, what the scriptures call bhakti-yoga, or divine arrangement, who shows up? Isvara Puri. And Nimai, this great scholar, completely humbles himself and begs Isvara Puri to accept him as his disciple. And of course, Isvara Puri graciously accepted. He gave Nimai initiation, giving him the sacred Gopal mantra.
This was it. This was the moment everything was leading up to. The spark was about to ignite a fire.
And the effect? It was instantaneous. It was explosive. Nimai comes back to his new guru, and he's just ecstatic, saying, "What kind of mantra did you give me? Chanting it has made me pagal, which means it's made me mad with love for God." He was laughing. He was crying. He was a completely different person. This wasn't just some ceremony. It was a full-blown spiritual awakening.
And just like that, all that spiritual power that Isvara Puri had gathered through years and years of selfless service, it was all transferred in that one single moment of initiation. It was the act that transformed Nimai Pandita, the scholar, into Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who would go on to start a massive spiritual movement that spread like wildfire. But wait, this story doesn't stop there. Not even close. Isvara Puri's impact just kept spreading, like ripples in a pond, creating this legacy of devotion that's still so powerful today.
You really get a sense of this legacy when you see how much Sri Chaitanya loved his guru. I mean, it was just extraordinary. He once made a journey to Kumarhata, which was Isvara Puri's hometown, and when he got there, he was so filled with love that he literally rolled in the dust of the village. He even collected some of that sacred dust, and he would eat just a tiny bit of it every single day. And his followers, seeing his devotion, started doing the same thing. And they took so much dust over the years that it actually created a large pond, which is now famous as Chaitanya Doba. Just think about that.
So you can see his influence was just so deep that it didn't end when his life did. Not at all. His whole mission of service was set up to carry on long after he had departed. And he made sure of it in a very personal way. Before he passed away, he gave his disciples, Govinda and Keshasvara, one final instruction. He told them, "Go find Sri Chaitanya and serve him." And that's exactly what they did. Govinda, in fact, became Sri Chaitanya's dedicated personal servant for the rest of his life. So that very same spirit of service that Isvara Puri had for his guru was passed down, continuing the legacy. It's really a beautiful full circle moment.
And that brings us all the way back to the question we started with. What exactly is a disappearance day? Well, it's not about death or mourning. It's seen as a transition. It's the day a great saint finishes their visible work here on earth and enters into the eternal, unmanifest pastimes of the divine. So it's not a sad day at all. It's actually a day for celebration.
And that's exactly why February 14th isn't a day of mourning. It's a day to celebrate the incredible life of Sri Isvara Puri, a humble servant whose one simple act, giving a sacred mantra, sparked a spiritual revolution that changed history. So it leaves us with one last thing to think about, right? We live in a world that's all about fame, being seen, and promoting yourself. So how is it that the story of this one quiet, humble teacher, how does his selfless devotion still resonate so deeply with millions of people centuries later? I think it just goes to show you the incredible, lasting power of genuine service and real, unconditional love.